people mostly get upset with you about their dog is they're frustrated about something and or they're emotional about something. So I try to have empathy, to listen to them, to figure out what is the reason you're frustrated. And once you find the reason they're frustrated, you can alleviate the frustration by helping them. And I do feel that's a little the same with dog training, that people call us because they're frustrated with some way that their dog is behaving. And the reason they're frustrated might not actually have anything to do with the dog. It might have something to do with their life. And if you have the empathy to try and understand why they're upset, why they're frustrated, it can help you figure out how to help them deal with those emotions.
Yeah, this all goes to conflict resolution, right? In everything that we do, dealing with a brand new client, it's usually not, although on the surface, the request may be, my dog is barking all the time, right? And that's what brings us out to do a consultation at their house. But when we do the consultation, we find out that there's a lot more going on than just my dog is barking all the time. And it's kind of like the dog bit me. Well, a bite isn't just a bite, right? There's missing context around this. And with conflict resolution, we find in so many cases in the houses that there's something else that's happening within the household that is causing the dog to act out, or maybe the dog doesn't even want to be there. We've seen that too. One particular case that has stayed with me for quite a while, probably always will, is an email that was sent to us, and I honestly don't remember the whole scenario, but the gist of it came in the form of such a personal attack on Joe, on who Joe is, not training methods, not the cost of training, not anything like that, but a personal attack. And when you move from conflict resolution to understanding or trying to have empathy for, hey, I get it. We've put dogs down too. I understand you're upset. And you move across that line to personal attacks. That's when things change, and we need to remove ourselves from those situations. But in this particular email, it was hard to step back from and not respond. But the best choice was, this person is venting their anger for whatever, I don't even remember why, but they were venting their anger, and you just have to let it go. So, let's move on to some more questions here. Let's see. This one's somewhat straightforward. How would you handle an over-aggressive dog, Shannon?
I don't deal with a lot of aggressive dogs. Even in the veterinary industry, we are always cautious with the pets that come in there because they don't ever like us. Working as a dog trainer is a lot different because a dog actually usually likes you. They don't try to run away from you or get you, But I've gone into houses before where as soon as I stepped in the door, I felt like the dog was going to kill me. And because they're afraid, So I just try to be like I am when I'm on a walk, really, really calm. I'm just really calm, and I'm just standing here in your house, and nothing's going to happen. I'm just here, so let's just hang out and see how it goes. And then it puts the dog in a position where they don't have to have the fight or flight. They can take time to respond to what's happening. Whereas if you go and try to chase them around the house or pet them or do whatever, then it shifts them into, now I have to deal with you. I'm either going to bite you or I'm going to run away, right? And if they're already on the edge where you think they're going to bite you, you don't want that to happen. So I just try to be really, really calm and non-threatening, until the dog can calm down and figure out what it decides it wants to do. 90% of the time, it calms down, it'll go to its safe place, and then you can make a next step from there. So that's my initial going into a situation in someone's house where I've never met the dog, and it has an aggressive response.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I think knowing, Shannon will screen the calls and tell us what we're heading into, but, sometimes people get a little bit, perplexed, I guess is the right word, when we ask them to put the dog on a leash or have them in their crate or have them outside, when we know we're heading into some type of aggression. And the biggest thing is we've all been bit in some way, shape, or form, and me in particular has never been an aggressive dog towards human. So, but it hurts. And so it's not like, I don't want to get bit because I don't know what it is. You get bit, it's going to hurt, and yeah, you might have stitches and not all of that. But more importantly is if the dog bites us, it's one more bite on the record. It's one more failure to the dog. And as dog trainers, we want to go in and help the dog be successful. And so to come in and just, let's see how the dog reacts to me is very inappropriate. It's very inappropriate to set the dog up to fail. And so from, Western State standpoint, we're going in to help the dog be successful, that we don't need to get bitten to see that the dog bites. We believe our owners when they tell us that. So, like Shannon, set them up to be successful, because one more bite is one more bite on the record and heading towards not a good path.
I'm going to ask a question, and we'll get all three of your responses. The question isn't on here, but it just came to mind as we were talking. Many times we're brought into a conversation with the following question: Hey, have you ever seen that one guy or that one gal on TV that trains dogs? What's his name again? What's her name again? And usually I'm with Joe, and the eyes start to roll. So there's a few shows that I know of, dog training shows on TV. I would like it if you would, for each of you, to just give your views on your response when that comes up. Go ahead, Joe.
My response is this. And I'll throw names out there because I don't really care. There's Caesar Milan, there's Gloria Stillwell, and I don't know the other guy that's on TV that we get a chuckle at all the time, that he finds the homes and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, from a dog trainer standpoint, training as long as I've trained, there's TV and then there's real life. And you can say, yeah, that's good, and yeah, that's not good. But at the end of the day, I am not the dog whisperer, nor do I really like being called the dog whisperer. Because I don't care for his style. I don't care for TV. I don't care for the TV shows. I think that it gives people a false sense of hope, because just because your dog is in the realm of, my dog is sociably challenged, and we call that dog aggressive in the general public. We call it sociably challenged here at WS. Doesn't mean that your dog fits in that TV show. There's a reason why that dog is sociably challenged, and there's a reason why he's doing what he's doing in that situation with those people and that environment. And so, therefore, you will not always, most of the time, you will not be successful in setting that same training scenario up for your dog. And so, it gives owners a false sense of hope. It also gives owners a sense of failure because they try it and it doesn't work. And so, yes, I've seen them. Yes, I watch them. As a family, coming from a family of 5, and we are a training household, we tend to chuckle at what's happening, not really embracing it at all, because it really is not reality.
Michelle?
I actually personally love watching those shows. So when people bring it up with me, and I love watching them because I get to laugh at them as well. But also, being a dog trainer, I go, oh, we didn't get to see what was behind the scenes. They didn't show you. I know how they got to do that dog to do it, but nobody else got to see how that works. There's no way you can walk in and an aggressive dog is going to be calm within 30 seconds. You didn't see the 45 minutes that Caesar was walking that dog or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
So I personally like watching those shows, and so when people bring them up, I could talk to them about it and talk them through like how we didn't get to see everything that was going on. Not to mention, like they say in those shows, like 6 weeks later, and I don't think it clicks in people's heads that really was like 6 weeks later that they were working that dog every day. Also, I mean, if people want to train that way, it's a good way for me to know like how to custom their style and how they want to work their dog. So yes, they're funny. I get a good laugh out of them too. But yeah.
Shannon.
I think where we live, people don't have a lot of experience with dog trainers. I think other parts of the United States, the dog trainer is like a part of your life, like your hairdresser is. Yeah. And in our area, they're not like that. So I feel like shows like those give people a start of a basic idea of an introduction to the idea that you need to have a dog trainer, which I think is good. And also, I mean, you've been listening to this podcast forever. I give analogies all the time.
Yeah.
And so it's helpful for me to communicate with people if they have a basic thing to compare and contrast to. You know, oh, you've seen that? Well, we're going to do it different because of this reason. And it gives them something to go off of, you know, to understand why you're doing it. So I find it helpful as a level of communication that, you know, when you go in and start with someone from scratch, that's fine. You can just teach them from the ground up. Yeah. But if they start out with some information already, you can use it to your advantage because they're already starting at a different level than someone that's never even heard of the dog trainer or thought of that as an idea of something they need in their life.
Yeah. And I guess to come back to that, you know, you'll always have dogs that are people that have gone to other dog trainers, and you know, I don't ever bash on them because I appreciate some kind of foundation. We have somewhere to start from, and so it helps me understand where the people failed with that training technique or whatnot. So I don't. I agree. I agree with you. It's more of and to people they're trying to compliment me as being the dog whisperer, but I really I am my own person, and that's where I kind of go with it. Is there's just no comparison in such it's just a different platform for me.
Another question that I don't see in here, I think we kind of addressed it, but one that we get all the time, and I'll just kind of preface this question with, it's the amount of time that training takes. Now, you know, very right off the bat, it depends on what the issue is. Why are you being called in? Many, almost every one of our clients at WS is a lifelong client. We may not hear from them for a couple of years, and then all of a sudden, you know, we're training again. But I would like each of you to take a minute or two and just talk about general training times. Like if you're dealing with resource guarding issues, or resource guarding being, the dog is really grumbly, or when somebody tries to take a food, or tries to get up on the bed or something like that. Just give us a general idea, because it's very common, as how long is the training going to take? So if you could give us a scenario and kind of generally how long those take. Joe, if you want to start.
Well, there's so many nuances to it, and I'm going to pass this question first off to Michelle, and then I'll pick up from there.
Okay. Like I said earlier, like training never really stops, but we'll go with resource guarding. I would say that would generally take, honestly, resource guarding is, it could take one time. It could, because it really, I guess for us,